When my son Ben was 2 years old, he fell off a stool and split open his neck. He needed stitches, so I drove him to the ER. When we got there, the doctor gave us two choices. Either I can put him in a straitjacket to hold his arms still, or if you think you're strong enough, you can hold him down to the table and I'll stitch up his neck. I can't stand to think of my son in a straitjacket, so let me pin him down. I can do it. I can hold him. So I pinned Ben to the table while the doctor stitched up his neck. This kid went crazy, kicking, screaming, yelling. It took all my strength to keep him there on the table. When the doctor was done, I had to fill out some paperwork. Ben sat on the edge of the table doing that thing kids do when they're, kind of crying for a long time. Then I held up my arms. Okay, buddy, it's time to go home. Ben, come on, man, it's your dad. Ben was mad at me, like I did something to him. Hey, Ben, look, I didn't tip you off the stool. I didn't cut open your neck. I just held you down on the table so you could get better. I feel like a lot of people are like Ben when it comes to God. We fall, we hurt ourselves, and now we need someone to blame. So we turn our anger on God. He could have stepped in and done something. He could have stopped all this. He could have just cleaned this all up and saved us a lot of pain. We say all this, but we still want our freedom. If God stepped in every bad situation, and made every decision for us, and saved us from all the hurt and pain and consequences, wouldn't we just be robots? Instead, God lets us live with the consequences of our actions because He wants us to experience real freedom. He doesn't want us to be robots. And He knows that these difficult circumstances will shape us and grow us. I know what some of you are thinking. It's all well and good when these things that happen to us are our fault. But what about the stuff that happens to us that's not our fault? Like someone gets cancer and dies, or a kid gets murdered or kidnapped or sold into sex slavery, or people get abused by their parents or significant other. It seems like then is a really good time to get mad at God. I'm the oldest of 5 brothers and sisters. When I was 13, my brother Chris was born. Now this was before ultrasounds and baby monitors and all that. And so when Chris came out the first time, he came out feet first. They pushed him back up and turned him around. When he came out the second time, he came out with a cord so tightly around his neck that it cut off all of his oxygen. They pushed him up a second time and took him out in an emergency C-section. After 45 minutes of life, Chris took his first breath. After 6 months, he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. That's basically damage to the physical centers in your brain. Chris has never fed himself, never dressed himself, and never taken himself to the bathroom. I remember when I was a kid, my parents sitting at the table just wondering what they had done wrong. Like, why was God punishing them? What sin had they committed? What went wrong in this whole thing? What did they do? I also remember this lady in my church coming up to Chris when he was a little boy and praying over him, laying her hands on him, praying for his healing. But he never got healed. He lives in a wheelchair his whole life. God just said no. So what should we do? How should we respond? What should our posture towards God be when bad things happen to us? I think we can learn a lot from this story of Joseph in the Bible. Joseph is sold into slavery by his own brothers. When he gets to Egypt, things start going well for him, and then he's accused of doing something he didn't even do and thrown into jail for it. When he gets to jail, he starts to interpret these dreams and asks the people he interprets the dreams for to remember him when they get out. But they forget him, and he rots in jail for years. All these things happen to Joseph that were out of his control. But there's this phrase that reoccurs in the story over and over again. But the Lord was with Joseph. The Lord was with Joseph. And on the journey, that's really all you can count on. God is with you, even when it seems like He isn't. And that's exactly what I tried to demonstrate to my son that day in the hospital, that I was with him. So after several rejections, I told Ben, it's okay, buddy. I'll just wait. When you're ready to go home, you let me know. As I moved to sit in the chair next to the table, I heard this little voice. Daddy, pick you up? Daddy, pick you up? If you're going through some tough stuff, there's one thing you can be sure of. God is with you. Maybe you need to turn to Him, hold out your arms and say, Daddy, pick you up? As you can see, the greatest American holiday is upon us.